Last week, we talked about the history of Morphe and where they are today. From starting out as a dropship brush brand to working with some of the biggest influencers, opening up stores globally, and finally where we are today. Morphe made the decision to close all their physical retail stores and pretty much give their employees no notice. They started to have huge clear-out sales, with some items going as high as 80 to 90% off, and only once the stores were empty would the employees be told what was going on.
So our store is closing as of tomorrow. We've had 1 day of notice, so there's that.
And there was some really shady stuff going on at the Morphe store. Apparently, some employees were told that they were getting a new shipment of stock and were doing a mini rebrand, and some were even told that they were closing due to rent issues. Now, the rent issues thing would have been believable since Morphe has had troubles paying their rent in the past, but that wasn't the case this time. Morphe ended up releasing a statement on Twitter writing, "We have made the difficult decision to close all Morphe stores in the US. We are forever grateful to our store teams for their passion, talent, and dedication over the years. Customers can continue to shop Morphe online and at select retailers. Morphe stores outside of the US will remain open." But we all know that isn't true either. The store in Mississauga, Ontario has now closed, and I even had employees from the Morphe store in Edmonton claim their store was in the process of closing as well. The really sad part about this whole situation is the employees who are now out of work. They're all trying to find jobs in a similar field, most likely all of them living within the same area. That's a lot of job loss, and the fact that Morphe gave these people as little as days' notice makes it even harder. The Morphe store employees weren't actually the only ones who were completely left in the dark about what was going on. The brands that Forma acquired and sells in Morphe stores also had no idea. The founder of Suva Beauty came out on TikTok and they said they had absolutely no idea what was even going on.
I'm Shayna Zad, CEO and founder of Suva Beauty, and my brand's in Morphe. And if you don't know, we've been selling in Morphe worldwide in all of their stores since 2019. And we're actually one of the top brands in Morphe. And here are some of the other brands they carry. So in the past month or so, we've been seeing a lot of people, specifically Morphe staff, posting about what's been happening. And just to let you know, as a brand sold in Morphe, we knew nothing about this. Actually, I was recently in Seattle at a Morphe store on October 9th, and the staff was just so excited about our new product launch. Anyways, I just want to share that with you. You know, as more information becomes available, I will keep you updated and posted. I just want to say, again, thank you so much for your support of Suva Beauty.
And that's just so bad. These brands are a part of the Forma family. They're direct business partners with Morphe, and their brands rely on the success of Morphe and Forma brands. I feel like something as huge as closing down all your stores should be, and probably normally would be, something to fill your business partners in on. It sounded like the founder of Suva Beauty was shocked. They explained how Morphe was the perfect store for their company to sell in, and just how difficult it is to successfully place your brand in a huge box store like Sephora.
Great question. I would love to go into another national global retailer, but the decision actually isn't as easy as some may think. There's a lot of considerations that the brand needs to make when deciding to go into a new retailer, and also vice versa, the retailer when deciding to onboard a new brand. Because I started Suva Beauty with the money from my own pocket, and I still run Suva Beauty with the money from my own pocket because we're an independently run beauty brand, unlike other brands which have a lot of private equity and capital. Some of the things that you do need to consider is RTV, gratis, sampling, VM buildouts, marketing, your time, specific products, exclusivity products, newness, and the timelines of newness. What does that actually mean? It means that you don't receive a PO and then you're just fulfilling that PO. It could be 1 year of conversation, another year of prep, and then, you know, by the 3rd year, then that's when you're actually launching in store or online. And by that time, you could actually be out of pocket or in major deficit. So taking it back to Morphe, Morphe had 50 stores, and for an independent beauty brand, that's very doable to be able to look forward and support that growth. Whereas some of these other national retailers, they have like 1,000+ stores, and for an independent beauty brand to plan for that, you might not be onboarded into, you know, all 1,000 right away, but are you able to support that if needed overnight?
I went ahead and had a look on Morphe's website, and they've teamed up with so many businesses, I can't even imagine how this is going to affect them. We already know that Playa has filed a lawsuit against Morphe for kind of forgetting about them and not growing them to the numbers they promised, and that makes me wonder, how many more lawsuits are we going to be seeing in the future from all of these brands? One person who everyone expected to make a statement about Morphe closing and what happened to the employees was Jaclyn Hill. Jaclyn Hill really made Morphe who they are today and brought them massive amounts of money and success. I'm sure she's the reason a lot of these employees found Morphe and had a dream to work there one day. When you think of Morphe, most people automatically think of Jaclyn, and since Forma is the parent company of Jaclyn's brand, a lot of people assume she would issue a proper statement. After all, this is affecting her brand as well. Her stock was being sold for up to 80% off inside of Morphe, and it's been on the shelves of every discount store across the globe. But so far, Jaclyn hasn't really said much of anything. She did reply to one person on Twitter who asked her if she heard about what was happening, and this is what she had to say. "Breaks my heart. I have faith that the brand will still do well online and in Ulta, but it's really sad to see. I used to go to the store openings with the founder, and we would cry because it was so surreal." Now, as you guys know, there's been a lot of rumors about Morphe filing for bankruptcy for quite a few months now. Articles were posted claiming to have sources who were hinting at the possibility of bankruptcy, but nothing ended up happening. A lot of people just assumed that maybe instead of bankruptcy, they chose to close down their stores and slowly try and recoup some of that money. But that's not what ended up happening. Today, it was announced that Morphe was officially filing for bankruptcy and even ending their deal with Ariana Grande. Bloomberg was the first to report on the filings, writing, "Beauty brand Morphe enters bankruptcy, ends Ariana Grande deal." Forma Brands LLC, the parent company of makeup retailer Morphe LLC, filed for bankruptcy in Delaware on Thursday, with plans to be taken over by lenders including Jefferies Finance LLC and Cerberus Capital Management. The company listed assets and liabilities of at least $500 million each in court papers. The Chapter 11 filing allows Forma to keep operating while it seeks court approval of a restructuring plan, though the company has already said it's closing all of Morphe's US stores. The investor group slated the takeover of Forma has agreed to provide $33 million of fresh financing in bankruptcy, according to a statement. The proposed acquisition, which includes Forma's wholesale operations, online platforms, and international Morphe retail stores, sets a floor for further offers and must be approved by a federal judge. Forma also plans to end its licensing agreement with Ariana Grande's Rem Beauty, according to court documents. Bloomberg previously reported that the brand's sales had disappointed, according to a former employee who asked to not be identified. Representatives for Forma did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Now, this right here is huge. The fact that Morphe is doing so poorly that even Ariana Grande and her massive fan base couldn't help boost them is insane. I think a lot of us could tell that Rem kind of felt impersonal, and it didn't really seem like Ariana was too into the brand. The makeup really lacked personality and passion, and for how huge Ariana is, there didn't seem to be that many people in love with the line. The rest of the article talks about how influencers played a massive role in the success of Morphe and how they heavily relied on those relationships for their success. The bankruptcy caps a tumultuous 2.5 years for the California-based company that failed to see revenues grow in spite of marketing deals with YouTubers and influencers. Morphe's marketing strategy relied heavily on online personalities including James Charles, Jaclyn Hill, and Jeffree Star, YouTube sensations who boast tens of millions of followers and whose collaborations with the brand regularly sold out. Now here's where things get crazy. Apparently Morphe's biggest creditor and who they owe the most money to is none other than Jaclyn Hill and Jeffree Star. It says, influencers are now among the company's largest unsecured creditors, with Hill and Star holding $2 million and $1.4 million in claims respectively, court papers show. Now, I wasn't too sure what unsecured creditors meant, but according to Google, an unsecured creditor is an individual or institution that lends money without obtaining specific assets or collateral. This poses a higher risk to the creditor because it will have nothing to fall back on should the borrower default on the loan. If a borrower fails to make a payment on a debt that is unsecured, the creditor cannot take any of the borrower's assets without winning a lawsuit first. So now I'm wondering, why does Morphe owe Jaclyn and Jeffree so much money? Is this money that they're owed from sales or appearances? Or did they put up some huge loan to help Morphe out as some kind of investor in the brand? For so long now, so many people have suspected that these influencers had some kind of investment in Morphe, and maybe that's why they kept collabing and pushing Morphe so much. It's just such a huge chunk of money to have lying around and tied up in Morphe. Now I'm even wondering if we'll end up seeing lawsuits from Jaclyn or Jeffree just trying to recoup some of that money. Morphe ended up announcing their bankruptcy on Twitter, writing, "Our parent company Forma Brands has agreed to be acquired by a group of its investors in a court-supervised sale. This doesn't impact the Morphe products that you love, and we will continue to launch new products." Right now, Morphe is having massive sales over on their website, with a lot of stuff going for up to 50% off. As for the future of Morphe, it sounds like they're going to be putting all their focus into selling online and trying to revive what was once a company that was actually coming for Sephora and MAC. They now have $33 million in financing from the investor that acquired them, so who knows what they'll end up doing with it. Anyways guys, let me know what you think about everything down below, and I'll see you next time.